Chris, is Golden State a lock to win
They
the
are
West?
virtually a lock. They're more of a lock than they've ever been. They're well over 90% chance that they get to the finals. I don't think they're as much of a lock as Cleveland in the East. But look, they're the best offensive team in the league, one of the top 3 defensive teams in the league. They lead the league in blocks. Everybody was worried about their rim protection. They lead the league in blocks. JaVale McGee's actually giving them productive minutes.
More than Bogut.
Yeah, well, I'd rather have Bogut, but still, McGee's been good for him. Now, I do give, out of respect for the Spurs, I've been on shows with you 7, 8 years ago writing off the Spurs. And so I have the utmost respect for them because of Popovich and their, just their whole culture. I would never completely write them off. And what I say about the Spurs is that they do have, if there's a formula for beating Golden State, besides having LeBron James, it's to play big and slow. Memphis has beaten Golden State over the last 3 years more than any other team in the West, 5 times. How do they do it? Big and slow, pounded into Gasol and Zach Randolph in the post. San Antonio, how'd they pound Golden State on opening night? Go big, Pau Gasol, LaMarcus Aldridge. Cleveland even is somewhat, they've got some decent size with Tristan and Kevin Love. So that is the formula. I don't think it'll work for the Spurs. I mean, Tony Parker is pretty much a shell of himself.
He retired and don't even know it.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Tony, did you hear that?
More years.
Tony, you watch it. Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
So I give your Spurs just a sliver of a chance, a sliver, but okay. I would be shocked.
Okay,
if
let LeBron Sharpe talk.
Are the Warriors a lock to win the West? I hate to use the word lock because, you're being very dismissive of the other team. But I'm going to use the word. I'm going to use life lock. And if you get this company for protection, they say they'll pay up to $1 million to get your identity and all your information back restored to you. They lock, they booking it. And I want Golden State to be a lock because I want the king to see him one more time and do what he did to him last year. Skip, look, I have the utmost respect for Coach Popovich. And if anybody can find a way to somehow to beat them 4 times. For one game, I would take Coach Popovich over the Warriors. For one game.
So if they had to play one game for a championship,
I would take Coach Popovich. But that's not how it works. It's the best 4 out of 7. And the only man that has the recipe how to do the Warriors, he'll die. He back in the middle. They call it the rust belt.
The recipe where Draymond gets suspended, and that's how it happens. Then you play game 5.
Everybody's gotten breaks.
Yeah.
Everybody's gotten breaks.
It was a break. Chris Broussard said
everybody's gotten breaks.
What about
the year before, right? Didn't Golden State get some breaks?
When Kelly Olynyk thought he was in the MMA and put an arm bar on Kevin Love, and then Kyrie cracked his kneecap.
Yeah.
Right.
Michael's
first title, he got a break.
I know, but wait a second.
Right?
Going back 2 years ago, LeBron James, the greatest player on the planet, was up 2-1 with Game 4 in his house, and he just disappeared in Game 4.
With Matthew Dellavedova.
I don't know. But wait a second. Wait, he's LeBron James. He's LeBron James.
He can win with nobody? He did a yeoman's job just to push it to 6.
35.
You have to give him credit for
that. The man averaged 35, 13, and 9, and you criticizing him.
Go back and look at Game 4 and tell me what happened.
Did he have a mediocre
all
game?
I heard on my old
he had
show
a mediocre game.
He ran out of gas. LeBron James is the best conditioned athlete in the world, and he ran out of gas in Game 4.
Name a player that never had a subpar game.
Okay, but it was the game. It's the one you could go up 3-1
Every
at
finals
home.
game is the game.
Okay, let's get back on point here. My turn.
Go ahead.
My answer to this question has absolutely nothing to do with my San Antonio Spurs. I've told you all year I'm not sold on the Spurs. I need to see Gasol come back from his injury, see how he fits in. Will it be seamlessly like Kevin Durant or not? So I'm not sure because they don't have one of the great and underrated leaders in the history of sports named Tim Duncan. I wish he were still there this year, but he's not. I think he could still play at a high level because they don't have the rim protection without him that they used to have. Now, back to Golden State. I do not think Golden State is a lock because I'm not sold on what I've seen from Golden State, and I'll tell you why. Let's look at the big picture. Let's look at their losses. They opened up, again, this is a long time ago, and they were just trying to figure it out. But opening night at Golden State against San Antonio, they lost by 29 points, 29 points. Then they went to the Lakers and lost by 20. Then they went to Memphis and lost by 21. Are you getting the picture here? Then they blew a 14-point fourth quarter lead with 9 minutes to go at Cleveland on Christmas Day. Then they blew a 24-point lead at home to the Memphis Grizzlies and lost in overtime. Then they went to Miami and lost. And again, at that point, we weren't thinking of Miami as a team that's won, what is it, like 10 out of 12 or whatever it's been in the last.
They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, okay, but still, they ain't going nowhere, and they lost at Miami.
Weren't their losses last year tended to be blowouts
Okay,
too?
then these are just recent
Golden
losses.
State.
Then they went to Sacramento. And again, I love DeMarcus Cousins, but they lost at Sacramento recently. And then recently, and again, you can say that it was a little bit of a hangover from the Russell Westbrook game, but 2 nights later, they went to Denver, and they lost by 22. Now, Denver went crazy and made 24 threes, which tied the NBA record.
40.
But my point is, they lost by 22 to a team that right now is sitting in the 8th spot, and that team is number 1, I'm talking about Denver, in rebound differential. So you can argue they're the best rebounding team in basketball, and I don't know how they pulled this off, but they went and got Mason Plumlee. Now, they might give up Gallinari later today, but again,
The Jokic kid is the truth.
he's the truth. And I don't know what they're going to do with Wilson Chandler, but still,
They
they can.
Chandler. They may move
Okay.
Chandler.
What are they going to do it for Reed?
Okay, I don't know, but again, Moutier is just coming back from
So
injury.
you think
my
that
point
several
is,
teams might be able to beat Golden
but
State? Is that what you're
if they
saying?
had Denver, and I don't know, but what New Orleans is going to rise into the 8th spot now
Yes.
with Cousins, but if they had Denver in the first round, I don't think it would be a walkover. I think they would at least lose. They would have to fight because what has been their one weakness, their glare. I agree with you. The blocks have shocked me that Kevin Durant leads them in blocks and they lead the NBA in blocks. I didn't see that coming. But their rebounding is still an issue because when they are out-rebounded, they are 16-9. All 9 losses came when they got out-rebounded, which they do. They're 10th in rebound differential.
Yeah, Cleveland's, I mean, rebounding doesn't seem to be what it used to mean in the NBA. Now that the three-pointer has kind of become such a big part. Cleveland's like 15th in rebounding.
Okay, but I can just show you that they've lost 9 games when they got out-rebounded. So if Denver can out-rebound them a couple of games, it's going to push them. It's going to make them, it's going to take a pound of flesh out of Golden State in the first round because it seems like it could be a bad matchup for Golden State if it winds up being Denver.
I think Golden State would have more problems with New Orleans now, with Boogie.
Okay,
and
well, they
Davis.
might. They just might. And I'm not ruling New Orleans to come up.
Oh, they're gonna
But
get
I mean, look, 2 years ago, New Orleans gave them a tough series. They swept them, but those were 3 tough games for Golden State in the first round. Last year, Portland gave them a tough, series in the second round, even though they went out in 5. And of course, Oklahoma City. So it's not supposed to be easy in the playoffs. But you're saying not just could some of these teams give them a tough series, but who do you think, besides the Spurs, it seems like you're saying, could actually beat Golden State? Because I don't care if they win every series 7 games.
Anybody can beat Golden State, it appears to me, if you can keep it close until late, because I don't think Golden State has figured out how to close games.